Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for asking the question about what was some of our best organizing work. I appreciate that question. And I am also thankful to the commission for choosing the theme, rural, focusing on women and their issues around living in a rural area. See, I am a rural woman, a person. I was born, like a rural baby. I was a rural baby, poor, black, and rural, and that's really saying something in 1945. That it was pretty devastating to have been brought into the world at that particular time. But I, like millions of other black girls who were growing up at that time and working sharecropping, working tobacco fields, working cotton fields, and living in shacks in abject poverty. And somehow we survived. And in our lives, there were brief periods when we escaped poverty through education, through marriage, or through divorce. We were able to escape poverty. And for that brief time, we were able to live, like a middle-class life. But there were still all those millions of black women who were still down there struggling. And at that time, I'm in my, mid-20s and stuff like that, and trying to make it out there in the world and raise a family like other black women. There were people still out there who were still struggling and never made it to college. Never made it to a good paying job, or worked in a kitchen, standing on their feet all day long, and never reaping that much. They stayed poor. They stayed poor pretty much all their lives. And I grew to a place where I began to work with poor people. That was when I was out of poverty. I worked with poor black women. That was some of my greatest work. And I am so proud of that work. And I was an anti-hunger advocate. And it was my job to go around the state of North Carolina and find these women in those backwoods. But everywhere I went, I did find women who were doing something everywhere. I never went to anywhere where it was just, everybody was just laid back and, hey, let's forget about this poverty. This is the way we're going to do it. There was always women who were trying to do something to better their communities. But many times they didn't know how to ask for it. They really sometimes didn't know what they deserved. So how could you ask for something that you don't know that you deserve?
That's right.
So you sit back and you don't do it. And you don't even know who these people are in this policy. What is that? What is this policy you're talking about? It's about food, feeding your babies. But it was still difficult for them women. It was difficult for me, still as a person out there trying to bring these people to their realization that they had value and they had worth. And they deserve all these things, yes, from our government. They had paid the price. Their parents, grandparents, had paid the price years ago. And they were paying taxes, so they deserve these things. But the thing was to get them to love themselves. You have to get people, if you're organizing people, you have to get people to love themselves.
That's very true.
If you don't, then you you'll be delayed in your work in bringing about change in a small, poor community. And whatever the issue is, if the issue is about homelessness and hunger or financial violence or sexual violence that exists in these small rural towns, it's a lot of work. But that was work. That was a great effort to get people to understand that they deserved better, and that they were paying for it, and that they would pay for it. But today, I came here to talk about something that I had started on last year. And it is for a selfish reason, and it's my reason because it involves me as I approach, as I grow more older. And I see things that are on the horizon for me and millions of other people, white women, but I know black women. So, you know, I see where they are headed. I see our vulnerable spots. You know, we have an administration now that is ready talking about taking our safety net, a little bit of Social Security check. That's what we've been talking about, this Social Security that means so much to people. But now it's threatened. Our Medicare is threatened. And I'm one of those people. And I don't want to lose my Social Security. I don't want to lose any of it. So, but as things relate to older women, there are a lot of issues. There is a lot of discrimination. There is a lot of exploitation. But we're supposed to be moving beyond that. So we're moving beyond, the conversation is moving beyond that. But there are some issues involving women my age and women who have to go into rest homes and women who are still in their homes. And that they suffer from rape, physical abuse by their own children and by other people who work in these rest homes. And not much is being said about it. Not much is being raised. You know, the issue is not being raised. You know, we blasted out there in the world. Like I'm talking about it right now. And it just needs to be talked about everywhere. And people who are like me need to be talking about it all the time. And this stuff is suffered, these horrors that exist in some of these places go unreported. And no one does anything about it. But, you know, I am one person and am willing to join with other people. And we're all in this together. All the women are in this together, and we cannot leave anyone behind. Even though people are older, they're still a part of this. And so I am just adamant that, you know, older women who have pretty much given their lives raising children, keeping their children safe, keeping other people's children safe as a school teacher, as a daycare worker, are now in places where they are vulnerable and places that lack the technological security system that should be put into these homes where they are houses. So, you know, anyone who has given a lifetime trying to make the world a better place, I think that we're worthy to be written into the conversation and raise the issue raised up high. Wow.